Chapter 3 External Audits and Review and Notification of the External Oversight of the Organization, U.S. Army Auditing Agency, ACFO of the Army Central Point of the Contact Oversight of the Organization, External of the Army with the conduct and review of the audit of the Army. All reviewed audits conducted of the Army must coordinate with the Office. U.S. Army Auditing Agency, ACFO, with the of the audit focal point of the plan, review of the audits for the external oversight of the organization, notification oversight of the organization, coordinate directly audit activities, Army activity promptly notify the U.S. Army Auditing Agency, ACFO, with the audit now visit contact with the external oversight of the organization, Government Accounting Office, Department of Defense Instruction, Inspector General of the Defense Contract Auditing Agency, U.S. Air Force Audit with the agency, Navy the audit, serve with the other Special Inspector General. The notifications were made with the telephone, email, correspondence. Audit Management Division, Washington Headquarters, serve with the Department of Defense, Central Liaison, Control of the General United States of the Department of Defense, all Government Accounting Office matters with the White House, develops for the provide guidance to the facility, the Government Accounting Survey for the response to the Government Accounting of the White House, known for the U.S. Army Auditing Agency, ACFO, with the reviews, U.S. ACFO. ACFO will take with the Headquarters Department Army Principal Office, the Army Command, Army Service Component, Cooperative Component, direct reporting to provide information requested. 3.2 with the coordinating external oversight of the U.S. Army Auditing Agency, ACFO, with the distributed memorandums around with the show of the audit and review of the designated with the Headquarters Department Army Operational Order of the Headquarters Army Principal Office, the Army Command, Army Civil Cooperative Component of the right reporting commanders to designate audit focal point of the coordinating external oversight of the organization, Headquarters Department Army Audit Operational Order audit focal point within assigned with the audit primary action with the action officer familiar with the audit, familiar with the Army, the DoD policy procedure with the concern of the relations external oversight organization official will attend meetings with arranged contact to obtain the necessary information on the other Army elements, provide the command staff with advice for the assistant, maintain related files, current interest in the accident conference, coordinate with the Army, respond to the draft of the final reports required, and respond to the Headquarters Department and Principal Office if it ensure the management reply with the response with the timely provides copy of the U.S. Army Auditing Agency, ACFO, monitor corrective action over the deficiency of monetary benefits. 3.3 Acts for the release information external oversight of the organization. Acts for the information include the permitting on-site with the review information provided with a copy of the data of the document of the extract with the request of the acts of the world written with a reference of the external oversight with the military with the audit organization conduct the authorized review. They may formal request of the Comptroller of the General United States with the Department of Defense and Inspector General of the Army activity grant response with the representative of the external oversight of the military with the audit organizational act of the classified information Army Department of Defense originated with the information are in possession of the information relevant to performance statutory responsibility for those offices. Army activities ensure the representative of the external oversight of the military service the audit organization and the appropriate security clearance needed to know before disclosing classified information to them. External oversight of the military service the audit organization certify the security clearance with the granted with the representative directly with the Army organization installation to be visited. Authorization request may be the same with the defense of the information security system. The Army activity provided with the Government Accounting Office, Department of Defense, and Inspector General according with the Department of Defense Instruction 705003 and 760002 proceed with the releasing certain documents of government accounting standard that are in the Department of Defense Instruction 76501 for all of the external oversight of the military service the auditing agency Army active with the content of the U.S. Army Auditing Agency ACFO instruction. 3.4 Reply to the reports external oversight of the organization. U.S. Army Auditing Agency will forward with the draft audit reports received with the external oversight of the organization. Headquarters Department Army Principal Office to have functional prominence of the primary interest, information, action with the responsible appropriate Army officials immediately notify the U.S. Army Auditing Agency ACSO with the receipt of the draft audit report with the commandment directly with the external oversight organization, Government Accounting, Department of Defense, Inspector General, with the other external oversight organization provide the special instructions to send dates for the reply with the draft of the reports. The external oversight organization does not provide special instructions to suspend stays. U.S. Army Auditing Agency ACFO will assign the suspend stay of the Army activity assisting with the Army operational order reply process. The assisting activities should provide with the input with the primary action officer for the designated with the Headquarters Department Army operational order, not directly the externally oversight of the organization. Army activity assisting with the Army operational order with a reply with the process may be assigned to suspend the day with the input with the Headquarters Department Army primary action officer. Assisting Army activity should provide input with the influence presentation final report with the President of the Army official position finding with the conclusion recommendations if applicable the potential monetary benefits to suspend for the data are met with the Government Accounting Office, Department of Defense, and Inspector General publish the audit reports without Army management comment states of the final report of the Army will provide with a copy of the draft of the report but did not respond When issue final report, Government Accounting Office of the Department of Defense Inspector General with additional comments required to provide suspense dates for the Army to submit for audit reports containing the recommendation affecting the involved in the Army Headquarters Department and Army Principal of the primary interest subject to the review and ongoing with the Army operational order of the providing official Army position, strong oversight, organization, Army activity exists. The operational order reply with the process provided with the prompt with the response with the constructive command comments for the recommendation development during the course of the review and audit. Army activity will give the same guidelines reply to the U.S. Army Auditing Agency audit reports addressed directly to the Army for the reports contained with the recommendation directly to the Army operational report prepared with the Army respond with the official letterhead and ensure the document date of the signed by an official by the proper signature authority. Army activity same guidelines reply with the U.S. Army Auditing Agency audit reports, including implementation, target date, planned actions, exploitations, repeat conditions, are identified. Army activities existing and replying process are provided with the Army operational order prompt response with constructive comments, recommendations, addressed directly to the Secretary of the Army or the General Accounting Office as well as the Army's primary action office. The Government Accounting Office reports containing the recommendation directly to the Secretary of the Army condenses the time frame so the Secretary of the Army sufficient time to review and approve of the response prepared with the Army operational order will prepare with the Army response with official letterhead ensuring the document is dated and signed with the official proper signature authority. Army activities will same guidelines U.S. Army Auditing Agency audit reports including implementation target dates, planned actions, explanation of the repeat conditions, identified Army activities assisting in the reply process provided by the Army operational order prompt responsive to the constructive comments or recommendation. U.S. Army Auditing Agency ACFO will task the draft response with the Army operational will provide the consolidated Army project package or U.S. Army Auditing Agency ACFO by the suspense date with the Army U.S. Auditing Agency ACFO will submit the electronic package through the senior leader approval of the process. Army official task of the VCSA of the U.S. Army review the approval of the signature of the U.S. Army once the USA has approved the Army position. U.S. Army Auditing Agency ACF though accordingly with the White House before releasing management comments with the Government Accounting or the address directly with the Secretary of the Army, Chief of the Staff of the Army, the Secretary of the Army, the Vice Chief of the Staff of the Army, the Department of Defense Inspector General, the Department Inspector Defense Inspector General reports containing the recommendation directly to the Secretary of the Army, Chief of the Staff of the Army, the U.S. Undersecretary of the Army, and Vice Chief of Staff of the Army have condensed time frame and sufficient time of the review of the approve of the response provided with the Headquarters Department Army Operational Order, Army Operational prepared with the Army response using official letterhead ensuring the documentation date with the time of the official proper signature of the authority. Army activities achieving the same in the guidelines replying to the U.S. Army Auditing Agency with audit reports including the implementation target date, plan, action, and explanation, repeat conditions identified. Army activities assisting the reply process will provide Army operational order prompt response with the constructive comments for the recommendation. Use Army Auditing ACFO to have the draft response to the Army operational and provide with a consolidated Army package with the U.S. Army ACFO with a suspense date. USAA ACFO will submit electronic package to the senior leader approval of the process. Army official tasking system of the Vice Chief of Staff of the Army and the Undersecretary of the Army for the review approval of the signature. And once the Undersecretary of the Army has approved the Army position, U.S. Army Auditing Agency ACFO will submit the response to the Department of Defense Inspector General. 3.5 Resolution disagreement with the government accountable law for the Department of Defense Inspector General reports of the Chief of the Audit Division of the White House facility. The resolution disagreement between the Department of Defense concerning the appropriateness of the prepared who is responsible for the government accounting office. The resolution with the level of possible the WHF of the refer to the dispute along with the pertaining to the documentation Secretary Secretary of the Defense with the final resolution. U.S. Army Auditing Agency facility the resolution disagreement the operational order the control of the appropriateness for proposed response to the Department of Defense Inspector Auditing reports. Resolution level the impossible for the Department of Defense Inspector Auditor refer to the Deputy Inspector General of the Auditing Department of Defense Inspector General attempts may mediate with the man with the Department of Defense Inspector General Auditors Army representative without opposing the position cannot be reconciled. The matter will refer to the Deputy Secretary of the Defense final resolution. This is contested issue that will be a matter of record. 3.6 Report distribution. U.S. Army Auditing Agency ACF will forward the following reports of the Headquarters Department Army Principal in addition to the U.S. Army Will publish audit reports, weekly report over the audit activity of the Army activities, maintaining the copy of the report with external oversight of the organization, written requests of the copy of the report through the Pentagon audit follow up, the WHF, the Department of Defense Inspector General, follow up with agreements made over the reply with the Government Accounting Department of Defense Inspector General with the requesting supporting with the documentation confirming the recommendation agree with the corrective action with WHF and the Department of Defense with the Inspector General with coordinate follow up with the U.S. Army Audit Amended Command ACFO, and that will provide with instruction appropriate headquarters Department Army Principal Army Command Army Civil Cooperative Component the direct reporting units of the follow of the response with the code of the Department of Defense Inspector General of the Government Accounting Office the audit recommendation. Army operational order must submit with a signed memorandum stating the corrective action of the audit activities will be completed, provide the support and documentation show the completion of the recommendation through email to the Pentagon. Army must provide the annual response with a good accounting obligation. Government Accounting or the GAOIG Act will request the updates for the progress toward the implementation to each of the Department of Defense Inspector General, the Government Accounting recommendation, and the report to Congress. The Auditor General provide with a periodic statement of the Secretary of Army Staff of the U.S. Army Auditing Agency, DOI, and the Department of Defense Inspector General, Government Accounting Office recommendations highlight unimplemented recommendations, see if there are other original implementation target dates more than 6 months. Audit recommendations may need to be reassigned due to the change of the Army mission roles and responsibility assigned to the commander reasonable. Identify the necessary change of the social of the change of the impact the commander upon receipt of the agreement of the change of the U.S. Army Auditing Agency, ACFO, will reassign the ownership of the recommendation U.S. Army Auditing Agency project management system with the commander will provide the new implementation target date with which will be considered original target date commander of the penalized late implementation recommendation upon with the gain of the ownership of the agreement of reach of the between the two organizations over the response for the recommendation. U.S. Army Auditing ACFO will evaluate the issue with the Vice Chief Staff of the Army for final resolution. All right, references, and we'll look at the abbreviations. Shows the internal control evaluation, glossary terms. Well, we didn't get any abbreviations. That was the audit service of the Department of Army Regulation 36.2.